Good morning again. Good morning. Good morning. Who here's for the first time? Just a show of hands. I want to welcome you. We're delighted you're here. Some friends like Alan particularly want to welcome that I know from prior lives and different things. You may wonder, what on earth have you come to? Why are you up at this godforsaken hour at the Indian Harbor Yacht Club? And who are these religious nuts that you're hanging out with? Before Dave and I begin our conversation, let me take a moment and try to explain that we're really about one simple question. We asked the question, what does this Bible, that if we're fortunate we read on our day of Sabbath, have to do with this Bible that we read the other 6 days of the week? Are they related or unrelated to each other? Now, many of us live compartmentalized lives where now and then we dip our nose into this Bible, but this is really what is the metrics for success in our life. But GLF suggests that no, these two things actually should not be compartmentalized. They shouldn't be kept in two different areas, but they really belong together. And that the Bible is, in all of its mystery and in all of its complications and all of its challenges to read, is the ultimate playbook, the ultimate source of wisdom for how to guide and live our lives in the marketplace. And if you read the Bible, both Testaments, the Hebrew Scriptures, the Old Testament and the New Testament, if you read them through the lens, the hermeneutic of the marketplace, you'll find it has an awful lot to say about how to engage and live a life of honor and even perhaps success in the marketplace. So that's what we do. And if anyone tells you, by the way, it's easy and it's a bunch of simple slogans, they're selling you something. It's hard work. You got to wrestle. You have to stand it. And that's what we try to do in this session. About half the time we'll have interviews like this where we'll talk with someone who he'll tell his story and I'll ask some questions. Also, he'll be able to join in some questions with David. And the other half of the time we have teaching sessions where I'll pick something that's gone on in the Wall Street Journal and we think about it as business leaders and we think about it also as people of faith. The other thing you should know about GLF, I'll just set this up here as sort of a visual reminder. The other thing you should know about GLF is we come out of the Christian tradition, so we explore these questions through the lens of a Christian tradition, but people of any and all and no tradition are welcome. So if you are from another tradition, just be yourself, use your voice, and feel at home as we try to figure out what does it mean to be a person of faith, authentically follow one's faith tradition, and engage in the marketplace. So that's a bit about who we are, and somewhere I think I've got a magic clicker. Before we go to David, just to remind you of a few things. So this is here our image that we have. Well, I always have a cartoon or two to start the day. Today's. So now, Wendy, you specialize in HR searches. Sure, I passed moral philosophy, but don't worry, I cheated on the exam. Now, you started out as a philosophy and ethics major, right? Did you cheat on any exams?
No, not that I'm aware of.
No, I love it. Or what's the other legal response to the best of my recollection? So, here's another one I have here. Can't read it back. I just don't see how an index fund tied to batting averages in the National League actually works. So,
there's someone in this room who can explain
that. Exactly. So, usually when I show a cartoon, I try to have some moral, ethical linkage to the marketplace, and I have no clue what the fit is. I just like this cartoon. So, for some of you financiers. But what's GLF about? Well, we've just briefly, we're closing up near the end of our spring series. You saw earlier in the year we did a retrospective looking back on last year, calling a rearview mirror. Then we had top 10 ethics myths, things that are really myths about ethical life. We had Bob Dole from BlackRock as our interviewee, or victim, as the case may be, for our annual dinner, which was an amazing success with over 300 people in attendance. We had Anthony Scaramucci, not Pete Townsend, that was our April Fool's joke, but Anthony came and spoke to us previously, and I think you all found it very energetic and engaging. David is here, and we'll interview him more and introduce him more formally. Going forwards, our last session will be the first Friday of June, and it will be sort of an open mic. I'll come in with some thoughts. It'll be a teaching session as opposed to an interview session, and we'll have a conversation about what's been going on in the Wall Street Journal and a few other things that might be of interest. Some things we're doing down at Princeton. We've had, just as Max Anderson came and spoke here about the MBA oath, Ken Melrose, the retired chairman and CEO of Toro, came and spoke as well. And Mulcahy, who you're actually meeting with in a few days, came and spoke both about her life at Xerox, one of the most successful and effective CEOs in modern times, and including within that category, obviously one of the top female CEOs, of which there are only 10 or 11 in the Fortune 500, which is a bit of an embarrassment. She did a terrific job. And we'll end with Jack Bogle, who's a legend in investing circles. If any of you know Vanguard, the business he built, sort of many view him as the father or grandfather of index funds. You're welcome to come down to any of these events, by the way, if you ever wish. Oh, here's one more. It's a little off color. So, you've passed our test on ethics and morality with flying colors. Now let's see you go kick some. So sometimes life is like that, isn't it? We have these nice highfalutin rules, and then you're told to go out and play a little differently. Let's now talk about life and trying to survive in the different world we're in. David, we want to first of all give welcome.